distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Isam Naka, Namaste, Assalamu alaikum, Ni hao no more, a very good morning to you all. Happy Oceans Day. Now, Fiji's leadership on the preservation of the world's oceans is one of the most important tasks our nation has ever undertaken. And along with spearheading the simultaneous fight against climate change and our contribution to UN peacekeeping is global leadership that every Fijian can be proud of. Every Fijian can celebrate today. Today we commemorate World Oceans Day, determined more than ever with our Pacific neighbors to persuade the nations of the world to take much more decisive action to save our oceans. And I'm delighted to be able to again highlight that struggle at this World Oceans Day Symposium, and to officially launch a very important tool to help meet the challenge we all face, the Pacific Ocean Portal. I want to start by paying tribute to all of you in this room for your own personal commitment to the fight to preserve our oceans and for more ambitious action on climate change. And on behalf of every Fijian, to say Vinawalevu, thank you for that commitment and the terrific work you're doing to advance our collective cause. I know many of you have been directly involved in our global campaign for action on oceans. Whether it was the United Nations World Oceans Conference in New York a year ago, or the Oceans Pathway launched at COP23 that will continue to co-chair, or that we will continue to co-chair with Sweden until 2020. And many of the same people have also been spearheading our fight for climate change across a broad front through Fiji's presidency of COP23, including the Talno dialogue that is a cornerstone of that effort. Now, this is evidence in itself of the inextricable link between climate change and the health of our oceans. It is a simultaneous battle on two fronts. And whether you are part of Fiji's national effort or our collective Pacific effort, you are all foot soldiers. Dr. Omar used the word warriors, champions, and standard bearers in this struggle of ours. Now, so friends, World Oceans Day is not only an opportunity to highlight the importance of the struggle to protect and preserve our oceans. It is also a celebration of the millions of men and women, children around the world, who have committed themselves to making a difference in this struggle. As you all know, it is a struggle for our very survival, for our people now and for future generations to come, for all we hold dear. For the continuity of our island life and the right to live as our forefathers and forebears did, surrounded by a healthy ocean and free from the more extreme effects of climate change. Now, these extreme effects, of course, include the cyclones of unprecedented fury that are killing a lot of our loved ones and destroying our homes, our schools, and the infrastructure. As our Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Bainimarama, and COP23 President has continually stressed, we are all in the same canoe in facing the climate threat. All 7.5 billion people on Earth. We would like to battle together. But we in the Pacific are certainly among the most vulnerable, and now, more than ever, we need to stick together in this fight. Next month, Pacific leaders will gather here in Suva for the Climate Action Pacific Partnership event, and the Pacific Talno Dialogue as a prelude to the Talno Dialogue Fiji will preside over with Poland at COP24 in December. It is all about raising ambition in the climate struggle. Raising ambition in our NDCs, our national determined contributions, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions that are the root cause of climate change. And as Fiji's head of state, I appeal to the leaders of all Pacific nations to join us in Suva so that we can set an example for the whole world of building a consensus for more ambitious action. The Pacific is leading the way with these Talanoas, Pacific concept of decision making that is inclusive, blame-free, and produces concrete action. And we need strong United Pacific voices to help make the Talno dialogue the global success it desperately needs to be. Friends, we must keep talking. I beg your pardon. We must keep taking the message to the world that the current NDCs arising from the Paris Agreement are woefully inadequate. They do not have a hope of meeting the Paris target of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above that of the industrial age. On the contrary, they will produce warming of at least 3 degrees by the end of the century. And that would spell catastrophe for the whole planet, and especially climate vulnerable nations like our own here in the Pacific. I know that I'm speaking to a room of experts, so I don't need to lay out challenges in great detail. But for the benefit of the wide audience, every Pacific Islander needs to understand that without drastic action, all of our coral reefs could be extinct in the lifetimes of those being born today. Dead by the end of the century, with all that would mean greater challenges to our way of life and our ability to feed ourselves and maintain our livelihoods. I repeat, climate change and the health of our oceans are interlinked, and the time for action on both is rapidly running out. Even in the past week, we have seen a dramatic evidence of that. News that the destruction of Australia's Great Barrier Reef is happening at a far greater rate than first thought. And plus a heartbreaking story from Thailand of a pilot whale that died after eating about 80 plastic bags that it mistook for food. Friends, how can we do this to our world? How can we abuse the precious surroundings we inherited and merely hold in trust for future generations of our people? The time for action is now. We must clean up our act, whether it is more decisive climate action or to tackle the pollution and overfishing that is slowly killing our oceans. So let us all focus on what we can do ourselves to confront this challenge head on. Let us take more action on plastics to build on the government's initiative, to put a price on the use of plastic bags by doing more. Do not use plastic bags, plastic straws, or non-degradable plastic bottles and containers. Take your own woven or Hessian bag to the shops and carry your food and drink in reusable containers. And do not pollute our rivers, streams, and beaches with plastic and other litter. Let us ensure that the fish we buy has been caught in a sustainable manner. The government has formalized a ban on fishing and the sale of ndonu and kaukau from June to September each year. Let us respect that ban so we can protect these species. Let us support community initiatives to conserve and preserve our marine areas, such as the 250 nautical miles traditional tambu sites protected by Fijian locally managed marine area network. Let us teach our young ones to respect the ocean and its resources so that they will still be there for their children to enjoy. And let us continually emphasize the benefits of pursuing a blue economy, of the sustainable use of our marine resources hand in hand with the green economy on land that is also at the core of Fiji's development strategy and national plan. Every Fijian and other Pacific Islander can be part of this effort, from the very young to the very old. So, on this World Oceans Day 2018, let us rededicate ourselves to the task of conservation and preservation and of ambitious climate action. Let us make a difference. Friends, I want to acknowledge the special contribution of the Pacific community and of Australia in particular in bringing us together today, along with all of those partners who have made the symposium possible. I want to especially acknowledge the Australian-funded Climate and Ocean Support Program in the Pacific, which is ensuring that climate, ocean and sea level data is accessible to Pacific governments to enable them to build our resilience and confront the challenge we all face. One of the key tools developed through that program has been the Pacific Ocean Portal, designed by the Australian Bureau of Meteorology in collaboration with the Pacific National Meteorology Services and other ocean stakeholders. This portal is giving us a better knowledge of the ocean around us and how changes in the ocean conditions can affect us all. And as those conditions in the Pacific become more challenging, we now have access to better technology, improved forecasting and real-time data to enable us to make smart, evidence-based decisions. Friends, Dr. Moore has already explained how this portal will improve our knowledge of the ocean around us, and it is a great advance for which we are all grateful. So Navalevo, and thank you all, and to the Australian Bureau of Meteorology and all those who have made this possible. And also Navalevo, and thank you, all those who have worked so hard to ensure that World Oceans Day in Fiji is a success. I now have great pleasure to formally launch the Pacific Ocean Portal, and I'd like to ask all of us to give ourselves a big round of applause for being an ocean and climate warriors at the forefront of a great global campaign for more ambitious action. Before I conclude, it would be remiss of me if I don't acknowledge and thank the good Reverend Turantatawa. Thank you very much for the very short, informative and inspirational, spiritual address this morning. And thank you for the prayers. We all need that. Navalevu, Bahutanivat, Sukriya Sheshe Fayaksha. Thank you and a happy World Ocean Day. God bless you.